going to be making our skulls, and we're going to be actually starting with our skulls, excuse me. And so the first step is to do this skull part, this part of their cranium. And what I did is I printed out some of my examples for myself, my inspiration and all my research. If you would like, you can get these laminated or laminating sheets if you want. They are going to get dirty, but that's okay. It's not a big deal to me. But they're just going to kind of give me an idea of the shapes that I'm looking for. So I printed those out, and I have separated some clay. I would say it's about, when you do like about 2 inches down on your bag of clay, I cut that across and then I cut that in half. And each of those halves I make into one of these. And so remember, you want to make sure that you wedge these before you start working. What you're going to end up seeing is a lot of bubbles inside your skull as you do your pinch pot. So you want to make sure that that's not the case. So I have this going on here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to push it in to the table. It has been wedged somewhat. Maybe not as thoroughly as it could be, but good enough for this example. So I'm going to kind of wedge it into the table like so. And I'm going to now do the same thing I did before, is I'm going to start with the hole in the center. So I'm actually going to use both fingers because it's pretty thick and I don't want to hurt myself by trying to use just one finger. So I'm using 2 fingers kind of together to support themselves. I'm not going to do it for that long. I'm just going to do it for the first little part of this. And then I'm going to go into my 1 finger once again. I'm going to keep working this. You can even go as far as to pull with your other fingers here. But I'm basically trying to go for the same circumference as this guy. So that's your goal. So once you make one, you'll know what the other one needs to look like. And if you're looking at your example, you can kind of roughly estimate that it's like about a circle, and you can just do that. And then I'll show you how to use this ball that you're gonna make to kind of like form it so that you can make more of a skull shape. And as you can see, it's kind of like a mixture of like a circle that kind of goes into this part of the face. And so we're gonna build this next time once this is set up, but this is basically the bulk of our face that we're working on today. All right, so I'm gonna keep going until I've gotten to the same circumference, making sure that it's about 1 inch thickness all the way around. It's gonna take a long time. Just keep working it until you get there. Focus. When you do see that you're getting a little thin in some areas, try to ignore those areas and focus your attention on areas that are thicker, because you're just going to end up just going around and around and making that thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. So once you get to the bottom, because our hands aren't humongous, we can't get all the way down there comfortably, what I start doing is I use my hand to support it and I push into the center and outward in a round kind of shape, right? So I'm kind of like doing almost like a U and coming out. I'm not going like very like geometric. I'm going very round as I'm pulling the bottom up so that the bottom becomes the same size as my sides. Otherwise, you're gonna have an completely off thickness skull and you're gonna have cracking and you may have some explosions in the kiln. So the same rules apply when it comes to applying moisture. Use your sponges to apply moisture to your finger, then to your clay. If you use your sponge just by itself, you'll notice that your clay is getting a little bit more textured. So what's happening is you're removing that finer clay and exposing the grog that we talked about before. And so just to combat that, what I usually do is I just use my finger instead of the sponge directly, because your finger will push down all those hard spots in the grog, and we'll be able to see that beautiful smooth texture of the clay without emphasizing it. Okay, so I'm going around, going around. I'm gonna see how this looks. Let's see. It's getting there. This one's still a little bit bigger. It's okay. Now, notice I'm not putting these down on their round spots because I want to keep that round. It's not like your cups. So I'm keeping that round by putting these upside down whenever I set them down. Huge rule, always set them upside down. Also, you do want those, the parts that are going to be touching to be a little bit more leather hard state than the rest, so it's good because it'll pull out some of that moisture by sitting it down. All right. So I'm going to now put this down and let it kind of sit a little bit. Make sure it fits the other one. And I'm going to then give you guys another video on how to attach these two together. And I'm going to show you how to sit it down without ruining this beautiful rounded shape that you're able to make.